Welcome back, everybody. This is Hutch from Hutch High Perf. Just got the block in a beautiful shade of Oldsmobile 455 blue. There's a couple things I do to the block before I put paint on. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we'll start at the back of the block first, get these done, and that way I can put it back on the engine stand and I'll do the rest there. Makes it a little bit easier, but these I just need to take the back off to be able to get it. So on the back of the block you have two casting or freeze plugs and then also two pipe plugs. This one back here, submerged inside here as you can see it, that pipe plug has a 20 thousandths hole in it, and that squirts oil onto your distributor and keeps that thing in line so the gear doesn't burn up. And then the other side, the pipe plug is right there, and it just goes in, and that's where the oil galley is on this side. No big deal. So let's take a look at that pipe plug. So there are the two plugs. The red in color one, that one goes at on the inside, and that's has your squirter hole in it. 20 thousandths hole. So if for some reason you get a block and it doesn't have this, I believe these two, the pipe plug on the bottom here that goes on the other side, I think there's two of them that come in the plug kit. So you can buy a 20 thousandths drill bit, or if you have one, just center punch and drill a hole out in the center of this and put it in place of that, and you should be good to go. So let's get these in. Thought this might be the best vantage point for this one. So I had to run out to the hardware store and I picked up some 5/16 square stock, just like bar stock, which ends up fitting in here perfectly. And now put a little Teflon tape around the plug. And now it's just a matter of getting it in the hole, getting it started and tightening it down. All right, with that one in, we can now put in our standard pipe plug in the back. All right, that one is in. Using a 15mm socket, which fits just inside the cup. Let's line that up straight, drive her in. So I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I use just the tiniest little bit of black silicone, high temp silicone on it, just to kind of help it, give it a little bit of a seal when it goes around. Use what you want. I've seen people put them in dry, and they say that's the only way they should go in. Seen people use aviation, like that gasket maker, the brown stuff. Whatever suits you, this suits me. All right, let's level that up and drive her in. And my camera cut out, but you get the picture. With the freeze plugs or core plugs, whatever you want to call them, in place, and with the pipe plugs in, now I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to degrease and clean up the back of the block here, and I'm just going to paint this area just to keep any surface rust from creeping in. And I think the block is going to be like that Oldsmobile blue, but I think I'm going to paint the back of this like a cast coat aluminum color, and that way get any leaks or anything back there, because the bell housing from the transmission will be bolted on, so you'll have limited view up in there. Any leaks or anything weird should be very obvious where it's coming from, because it'll be a silver background. Anyway, no one's going to see it, so who cares, but I do. So let me get that cleaned up. So with 3 coats of some Duplicolor engine primer, and then another 2 coats of the Duplicolor cast coat aluminum, number 1650 if you're looking for it, that is all buttoned up. So I like the way it turned out. And honestly, no one's going to see it. I just wanted to do it just to kind of knock down any scale or rust that would get on the backside of it. Plus, if I haven't, like I said, if I get an oil leak or something out there, it should be readily visible with being kind of the silver color. So let me get it back up onto the engine stand and we'll get moving from there. Now I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this camera-wise, what I'm doing here, but I was taught this a long time ago, old-timer trick. Because the cast iron is so porous of a metal, a lot of times you get it back from the machine shop, there's just like from lots and lots of hands on it and use, cutting and everything, and just it's an oily mess. And as much as you try to clean it, it's difficult because there's so much oil and grease and stuff that can soak into the cast iron that you sweat it out of the block using a torch. Now I want to see if you can see the line. You see that line start to appear, right? So as you heat the block up, you start to cook all that grease and oil and stuff that is soaked into the cast iron. And then you just follow that wave on down until you've gone around and done the whole block. Now what this does is leave you with a very dry surface that's ready to go. So I'm not going to sit here and bore you with this, but I wanted to show you this is something you can do, especially with cast iron. It's so beneficial to just kind of sweat all the oil and grease and all that crap that gets in there out of the block before you do your final clean and prime it and paint it. So anyway, I'm going to do the rest of the block, and then I guess we'll mask it off, and then we'll get some prime and paint on it. Cool. Just wanted to show you that. All right, well, my first idea was to take this out into the driveway and paint it so I could have fresh air and not have to worry about a respirator or breathing paint fumes, but it's raining. And I want to get it done. I just cleaned everything up. I just sweat the block, did another round of wiping everything down with acetone, and I don't want to have any more flash rush, so I want to get some primer on this and maybe even the paint. So if you can tell, I've put my tarp down inside my garage, and this is now my paint booth. Here's my personal opinion. Everybody should have a tarp. Everybody. It's not just for murderers and swap meets anymore, right? I mean, there's so many things you can do with it. It's somewhat weatherproof. So if there's something you want to keep dry, you can kind of drape it over it for X amount of time and it'll keep it dry. I use it just like this. I put it down in the garage floor, and that way I don't get overspray, dust everywhere. It makes it easier for cleanup. I use this when I sandblast. So I spread this thing all the way out and put whatever I'm blasting right in the center. Spray everything down, get it clean, and just grab the tarp by the corners, start bringing it up, and bring all that sand that's laying down right back to the center, scoop it right back through the sieve into the hopper, and you can get back about maybe 50 to 60% of your material that way instead of just losing it. So that's a good thing to have. Yeah, like if you're going to some guy's house to buy a car and it's either on the side of the house or in the backyard, and when you get out there, there's a big tarp over it with a rope wrapped around it, lower your expectations just a little bit, all right? It's probably not going to be the cherry that you might have thought you were coming to see. So that's not a good thing. You go to a swap meet, guys have this stuff laid out, and they have their parts laying on the tarp. It's perfect, right? So you don't get dirt and grass and mud or whatever else in whatever you're looking at that you want to buy. So that's nice, very convenient. Yeah, if your name's Tommy and you're going to become a made man and you bring you into the room and there's a tarp on the floor, That's not good. It's not good at all. Everything is ready to go. I got my primer, same 500 degree primer I'm going to use. So I'm just going to grab that and just start spraying this down. You need to do light coat, wait 10 minutes, another light coat. It says 2 light coats and then a medium coat. I'm going to do 3 light coats in a medium coat. I want to get really good coverage with the primer. I want to make sure that I got everything good and covered, and then I'll move on to the Oldsmobile Blue if I have time, if I decide to do it. So I got everything taped off, ready to go. It's clean. I'm going to try not to touch anything, and let me get my respirator, and I guess we'll start spray painting. Okay, so that is one good light coat over the entire thing. Now I'm going to wait 10 minutes, and then we'll come back, do another light coat, 10 minutes, come back, do another light coat, another 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do the medium coat and make sure I have really nice coverage over the entire thing. Just want it to be very uniform, and I want really good coverage, and I'll keep spraying until I feel I got that. If it has to go more than 3 light and a medium, but I think that should be fine. Anyway, to you it'll be a second. For me, it's going to be like 40 minutes. I'll show you what it looks like once all the primering is done, and then we're ready to go to color. So see you in 40 minutes. Just a second. 4 coats later, and I got nice coverage on the primer. So with all that done, now I can move on to color. So this is what I'm going to use. This is from Thornton, and it is the 455 Blue Metallic Engine Enamel. And as you can see, it's certified General Motors Restoration Paints. I did a spray out with this just to make sure that the compatibility with the primer didn't have any issues, and didn't. Everything reacting fine, so this is going to go on. This is the stuff I'm going to use. I have found a bunch of different Oldsmobile blues, and some of them just, I don't know, the tone just doesn't look right. And so far, this is the one that I have found that for me looks the closest to what I feel the Oldsmobile blue should be. So this is what I'm going to use. So same procedure. Coat 10 minutes, coat 10 minutes, coat 10 minutes until I got full coverage. So that is what's going on. And final result. 4 coats of primer, 4 coats of color. I think she turned out beautiful. And I'm glad it's covered in paint now, so I don't have to worry about any flash rust or anything going on with the block. So now that that is done, I'm probably just going to wait till tomorrow, and then I'll just start peeling off all the tape and everything, wrapping it up, and then we'll be ready to let her sit. That's right, I'm going to let it sit. See, I've got 4 coats of primer, 4 coats of color, and this is just going to have to off gas. So I'm just going to let it sit. I'm going to let it sit for a week before I mess with it, before I do anything with it. I'm just going to let it sit, let everything gas out that needs to, let it sit and actually just cure a little bit and harden up. So that's it. That's all I'm doing for now. Got the paint on it, good to go. Just going to let it sit, cure, off gas, all that good stuff. So that's it. That's all I got for now. Again, thank you guys for showing up. Really appreciate it. Loving the comments, loving the questions. Anything I can do, ask. If you think I'm messing up doing something, let me know that too. I don't care. I'm not thin-skinned. I'm not going to run up on stage and slap you. That's what I'm not going to do. Anyway, that's it for now. Go down there. There's like a red button, subscribe button. Hit that. Hit the bell. Do all the things. Leave a comment, like. Go to my t-shirt shop. All the money from the sales go right back into the project. So I can use every little bit I can get. I'm starting to get close to the end of the budget because I made a couple of decisions. Anyway, you know, this is how projects go. Anyway, that's it. I'm Hutch. This is Hutch iPerf. Have a good one, guys.